A question came in about recovering between sets of swings, snatches, and things that are ballistic exercises that are harder on the body, especially if you put them in on the minutes, every 30 seconds, stuff like that. You need to recover the best you can so that you're ready to go to the next set as fresh as possible. As fresh as possible. You might not be completely fresh or ready to go because of the timing, right? So maybe the program is too hard for you at this point. So you need to maybe have more room to recover. Maybe you need more time to rest in between. But if the plan is being customized for you, which I do that for you, it's because I believe you can do it, okay? So if you put the kettlebell back down and you start walking around and going for water on your phone and stuff like that, you are not recovering properly. You're not recovering right away in order to be ready for the next set. And the first few rounds, you might find it's okay because you're still fresh. After a few minutes, minute 5, minute 8, 10, that fatigue starts accumulating, and before you know it, you're gassed out, where you could have maybe kept going based on your initial testing. Remember, we did a testing at the beginning of your program, so I know that based on that, you should be able to do what is in your program now. But you're not paying attention to your recovery. It's not about doing swings and snatches. Recovery is what we're after. If you cannot recover, you cannot produce power anymore in that session, and you have to cut the session short. When it comes to recovery breath, one of the breath we want you to do is reach overhead with your hands and then progressively pull in more air in your ribs. Most people go through the motions. So when we show this, they just you're going through the motions, but the lungs are not getting the air. Understand why you do the exercises. It's not just do it for the sake of doing it. There is something to be accomplished with the techniques you're doing. Are you accomplishing that goal? In that case is, are you getting more air inside your lungs so you can fill up your lungs completely as opposed to just the one upper third? And when you breathe out, can you empty the lungs completely so when you breathe in again, you can fill them up again? Doing this is not breathing. So I did not take enough breath. I need to reach out and then breathe in, but pull air through my nose and feel, pay attention, feel your ribs moving apart from each other, feel your lungs expanding and making a big cylinder, a big balloon around your chest. If you don't feel that, then you're not doing it properly. And if you're having a hard time with that, go back to your 90-90 breath, go back to your crocodile breath and practice the breathing itself. You are not paying attention to the breath. So go back to an easier exercise that reminds us how to breathe properly. Here is another example. When people are doing hip 90-90s. Hey, your hips are still tight. What's going on? Oh, but I'm doing my hip 90-90s 3-5 times a day. Okay, good. Show me, because if you're doing that 5 times a day, they should be better. This is what they show me. It definitely is the hip 90-90 position. You're not putting the intention. Understand what the intention is and put the intention. Otherwise, you're just going through the motions. You want to move the hip forward, so that takes time. Take a big breath in, big breath out, and push that hip forward. Feel the hip moving towards the knee in front. If you don't feel that happening, you are not even trying to accomplish the goal. The goal is to mobilize the hip, not just switching. Not because the exercise looks cool, it's doing anything for you. You have to put the intention. So if I roll here to this side, for example, I need to squeeze my glutes, tuck my tail in, and pull my pelvic floor up so that I feel my groin moving forward. If I just come from the switch from this side and just stop here, nothing is happening. In fact, you might actually be twisting your low back. If you do this, thinking that your hip is up here, you are twisting L4, L5, S1. Most of the injuries in the low back happen there because people understand this being the hip. This is the hip bone, but not the hip joint. The hip joint is on your groin, very close to your private parts. So when you get here, make sure that you push that. The hip has to move. Take a big breath in. Take the time to allow that hip to walk forward towards that knee. Next repetition, can you go a little bit farther? You might not be able to measure that. It's by feeling. Can you feel that it's moving easier or farther? Put intention on the exercise you're doing. Otherwise, it's going through the motions. If you're doing the breath, which is the goal of this video, when you breathe in, take your time. Reach up towards the ceiling and go. Every time you breathe in, get more air. When you're reaching up with the hands, it's the same thing. The reason you reach up with your hands is to create more space in the rib cage. If I reach my arm up, my arm is attached to my shoulder blade. Through my shoulder blade and my clavicle is attached to the ribs. So if I reach up, my rib cage expands. If my rib cage expands, my lungs can actually get more air in because they're not constrained by my own ribs. So my goal is to get more air before you come back down. So 2 things. Pull air in through your nose so that you feel the lungs are actually expanding, getting more air in. Reach up, feel that you're going higher, higher. Go on your tippy toes, that's fine. Just keep reaching towards the ceiling. But your goal is expanding the rib cage here, okay? I hope that makes sense. This is intended for our students in person and or in line. If you are someone that is looking for some one-on-one coaching, we are offering that now online as well. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. As long as you have Wi-Fi and internet, we can help you. Have a good day.